Hello everybody and welcome to this installment of 3 Minutes to Vitality, where we're really going to talk a little bit about the whole point of vitality. We want to spend 3 minutes talking a little bit about vitality, how we get it, where it comes from. And we always we actually have our longer radio shows and our podcasts, which are available on our website, which are 30 Minutes to Vitality, where we spend a lot more time. We get into that in a great deal of depth because we always talk about the fact that vitality is all about removing interference. The body was created to express well-being. It was created to be vital and do well. We need to remove interferences. We're either getting things that we don't need, that we need to get rid of, that's an interference, or we're not getting things that we do need, that we need to add, and that's another form of interference. So when we remove these interferences, the vitality of the body just does what it does. Here in our facility, we like to a lot of times refer to it as innate intelligence. Innate meaning the word for inborn, something that is inherent, that is just naturally imbued in something. Intelligence, of course, my favorite definition. It's not one that my wife typically refers to me, those two words together, me and intelligence. But be that as it may, intelligence, my favorite definition, is actually the ability to organize. Because when we stop and look at the human body, it is markedly organized. There's so many things that are organized, but particularly us. And when we have cells, when we're born, two cells come together, microscopic cells that you can't see, and then they form a baby, at 9.5 months. And the incubation period for a baby is about the same, whether you're in sub-Saharan Africa, or you're in the Arctic, or you're up someplace in Canada, or in Mexico. The gestational period is about the same. And our heads grow on top of our shoulders, my arms grow down, and my legs grow down, and my upper teeth grow down, and my lower teeth grow up, and so do yours, which is kind of an amazing thing. My liver enzymes are going to be of the same chemical structure, carbon atoms oriented with oxygen and nitrogen and hydrogen protons, all of them oriented structurally in the same way as yours. And I can take a blood study, and your liver enzymes will be approximately at the same levels as mine. And yet our parents didn't know each other. We come from different countries, different parts, different genders, different races, different everything. And yet those are the same. How is that possible? How is it that we can actually have a typical heart rate, an average heart rate or blood pressure? And if you look at your heart, it does what it does without me thinking about it. It typically beats on average, say 72 beats per minute, and that's what the average person's is. And so how many times an hour does it beat? About 4,300 beats per hour. How many times per day? In excess of 103,000 beats per day, which equates to how many beats per year? About 37 million heartbeats per year. Well, I don't know about you guys, but my goodness, if I was required to do anything 37 million times this year, it would not get done. Heck, half of us would actually be mostly dead by now if we had to remember to wind our hearts up this morning, because they're going to be beating 100,000 plus times today. It's incredible what happens. I mean, our pH levels in our bodies are kept at a certain balance, and that's the acidity and alkalinity in our lungs, and our kidneys do all kinds of really amazing stuff. Get a little bit too acidic, something happens in the lung or kidney that actually brings it down. It becomes too alkaline. Other things happen. The kidney kicks in and does other things to actually stabilize the pH of our bodies. Calcium levels. How much do we hear about calcium? It's just amazing when you stop and think about it, because only 1% of the calcium in your body or my body is actually circulating in my blood. 99% of it is actually deposited in my skeletal structure. But that 1% is so important that circulates in my blood that I've got several hormones that deal with the regulation. If it goes down to 0.8% in my blood, I have hormones that will kick in, that will actually come in and actually cause that elevation. Calcium immediately usually comes out of my bone, but there are other ways to bring that in and elevate that back up to 1%. If it goes up to 1.3%, other types of hormones kick in to affect other sources of function in my body, to bring it back down to that 1% level, to keep in that very narrow 1% range while 99% of it is deposited in my bones. It's amazing stuff. One of my favorite little factoids is, again, if we look at red blood cells. Just an amazing fact, because they all live 120 days. And again, if I actually go to Australia and I get an Aboriginal person from Central Australia, his red blood cells are going to live 120 days, as do mine, as do a woman in London. And we actually form, all of us, approximately plus or minus about 2 million red blood cells per second are formed. And how many do you think are actually died and cleared out of our bodies at the same rate? 2 million a second die. And then they live 120 days, and that's worldwide. So if that is an organization, we could go on and on. It's amazing. This organization, and we remove the interferences, we get vitality, we get health, we get all the energy we could hope for, all that good kind of thing. And the last thing I'd like to actually point out is it's sort of like seeds. If I have a garden bed and I plant a row of tomatoes and I plant a row of cucumbers and I plant corn, right? As long as it gets water, it gets sunshine, it's going to do great. And what am I going to get? What can the only thing those seeds give me? If it gets the rain, it gets the sunshine. No debris is allowed to go on top of it. It doesn't get McDonald's garbage bags on top of it. It isn't planted right next to a roadside where I get car fumes all over it. I don't have people dumping their garbage. I don't let weeds grow in the midst of all of that. Or what if that's the case? If those seeds are just let to do their thing without interference, what will they give me? They'll give me gorgeous tomatoes. They'll give me wonderful corn. They'll give me watermelon or whatever else the heck we said we planted, right? They'll give me all of those things. And you and I are very much the same way. If we remove interferences, things that we don't need, we get rid of. Things we do need, we do. The vitalistic expression, just like those seeds, will actually give us vitality, what we're all really wanting. So that's it for this week's installment. I hope you found something informative there, and look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.